Try that again. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. How's everybody doing this morning?
Awesome.
Good morning. Doing
Hello,
great.
everybody. All right. Wow. All right. That was great. So we are off and rolling on another Voices of Health Point. It's Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those that are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and catching us live, it's great. We're a community that gets together on Saturday morning and just kind of talks about a number of topics around, but all centered around Health Point. And it's kind of fun and free-flowing. For those that are not catching this live, you can catch a recording of it on the YouTube channel called Voices of Health Point. As always, we've got some docket items queued up. I'm going to do a segment on, we talk about ketosis. So that is referencing ketones. Well, what the heck are ketones? I'm going to do a deep dive on ketones, what they are and why they matter. We're going to get an update from the Step Queen herself on where she's at on her consecutive steps, that is on walking every day. And then we're going to hear from Carol on more commentary on the power of walking, as well as a very important segment on kind of an attitudes of new people coming into the 6-week cycle. So guys, we're going to have a packed docket here this morning for sure. And so let me go ahead and get going into my segment. And that is on the power of ketones, what they are and why they matter. As you progress through your HealthPoint 6-week cycle, you've likely experienced noticeable changes, especially after completing the 3 jumpstart days. These protein-only days with virtually zero net carbs push your body into ketosis, a metabolic state where fat, not carbohydrates, becomes your primary fuel source. But what exactly are ketones? Simply put, they're byproducts of fat metabolism, produced when your body accelerates fat burning. This process isn't just about weight loss. Ketones also fuel your brain and muscles, offering profound benefits for health and cognition. Ketosis manifests in varying degrees, each with unique health implications. And I'm going to go through some of those things, and maybe later I'll hold up the Keto Mojo device, which I showed last week for those that were on board. But again, I'm going to hit 3 categories. So the first is nutritional ketosis, what's called nutritional ketosis. That's where if you're using like a Keto Mojo device, it will register between 0.5 and 1.5 millimoles per deciliter. And don't worry about that. The device is, all you have to do is take the reading and it will say what your number is. It does it all. But just know that at this 0.5 to 1.5, if your number is 0.5 to 1.5, that is what's called nutritional ketosis. Most HealthPoint participants find themselves here during Jumpstart and menu plan days. At this level, you're efficiently burning fat, leading to steady energy, reduced hunger, and mental clarity. Next state is what's phrased optimal ketosis, and that's where your number will register between 1.5 and 3 millimoles on your Keto Mojo device. This range enhances fat burning and cognitive performance, offering improved focus and energy. And then lastly, therapeutic ketosis. This is between 3 and 5 millimoles per deciliter, and this is essential for managing conditions like epilepsy, Alzheimer's, and metabolic disorders. This range provides potent anti-inflammatory and neurological benefits. So while devices like Keto Mojo can measure blood ketones accurately, remember that ketosis isn't simply about the numbers. Observable signs such as increased energy, reduced appetite, and even looser clothing can confirm your progress. Ketones serve as a cleaner, more efficient energy source for the brain compared to glucose, which can create oxidative stress. This isn't just a modern discovery, it's an evolutionary advantage. Ketosis evolved to ensure survival during periods of food scarcity, sharpening mental focus and physical stamina when early humans needed it most. Psychiatrist and researcher Dr. Chris Palmer, who is the assistant professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School and author of Brain Energy, highlights how ketones bypass damaged neural pathways, providing direct fuel to the brain. This mechanism not only enhances memory and focus, but also holds therapeutic potential for conditions like bipolar disorders and schizophrenia. At the core of ketosis lies an elegant metabolic interplay, the inverse relationship between insulin and ketones. When you consume carbohydrates, insulin levels rise to help shuttle glucose into your cells. High insulin signals the body to store fat, effectively suppressing ketone production. Conversely, when carbohydrate intake drops and insulin levels fall, the liver converts stored fat into ketones for energy. This shift not only promotes fat burning, but also addresses insulin resistance, a condition where cells become less responsive to insulin's signals, leading to weight gain, inflammation, and chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes. By reducing carbohydrate intake and entering ketosis, you lower insulin levels, restore insulin sensitivity, and utilize stored fat as your primary energy source. This metabolic recalibration is central to the HealthPointe cycle, supporting both weight loss and improved metabolic health. As you transition into menu plan days, which is days 4 through 28, your intake reintroduces vegetables, small amounts of fruit, and limited grains. While these additions may slightly alter ketone levels, your body remains metabolically flexible, continuing to burn stored fat. Indicators like reduced hunger, sustained energy, and improved mood confirm that you're effectively maintaining ketosis. The initial week of a HealthPointe cycle introduces you to the power of ketosis, a state deeply rooted in biology and evolution. Whether you're experiencing sharper mental focus, steady energy, or reduced inflammation, these benefits result from a finely tuned metabolic process designed to optimize your body and mind. Ketosis transcends weight loss. It's a gateway to mental sharpness and clarity, as well as biological resilience. By embracing this state, you tap into an ancient mechanism that enhances your ability to adapt and thrive, empowering both your mind and body to perform at their best. Okay, guys, that's my segment on ketones, what they are, why they matter. Open it up for any comments or questions or commentary. And I can also look at my numbers to share with you, because I do use a Keto Mojo, and I can pull up my record of numbers that show what my blood sugar numbers were, Monday through this morning, as well as my ketone numbers. But I open it up for any discussions or crickets.
I'll say thank you for the information. As always, we appreciate your nerdy insight, which always just gives us more information. And, information is power. And so thank you for that.
You bet, Kathy.
That was very interesting about the ketones and the importance in the HealthPointe program. And you might want to just give a real quick, because people might think about ketoacidosis, which is a destructive situation in your body, and why you don't want to go on protein days any more than 3 days. You might want to hit on that real quick, Eric, so that they know the difference.
Yeah, sure. Yes. To be clear, ketoacidosis is first and foremost a very dangerous state. I want to be clear on that. But I also want to be very quick and clear on is that it is a state that is, first of all, very rare. It's not something that would be induced by, well, let me put it to you this way. There are people that do therapeutic ketosis, which is virtually a carnivore diet. So it was mentioned about some things with certain psychiatric practices as well as oncology. It is an effort to many times get people into that 3 to 5 millimole region. When you're in ketoacidosis, that's in great excess to that. How does that occur? Almost always it's with a type 1 diabetic. Okay, so it is and to just to kind of accentuate a little bit of what you're saying, Carol, again, in the HealthPointe program, we introduce, vegetables and so forth for a more sustained nutritional healthy process. However, if someone went on nothing but eating sardines for 30 days, unless they've got some other underlying condition going on, they would not be finding themselves in ketoacidosis. And ketoacidosis is a rare condition where typically both your ketones and your insulin are very high. Okay, a little bit of a complicated answer there.
Yeah, the only reason that I ask that is because if somebody hears ketosis and they read something about ketoacidosis, all I say, I don't go into the detail of what it is. I just say, this isn't ketoacidosis. That's an unhealthy or therapeutic state. This is a mere ketosis. And so they understand the difference of the two words. And I think that's all they really need to know, is that if they read ketoacidosis, that's really nothing to do with our program.
Well
so
said.
That was my only point there.
Yeah. Well, that's very, very well said. Yeah. If you hear somebody that says, well, gee, is this, I'm hearing you say things like ketones or ketosis. I've heard something about ketoacidosis or something. It's very easy to just say, you're not going to experience that.
That's not us.
Yeah, that's not us. And so yeah, I mentioned I would pull up my log, and let me do this for those that either didn't catch last week's recording or weren't live last week. Let me pull this out, and because in the HealthPointe program, in the current manual, you realize, the good news is HealthPointe has been around for decades. That is good, right? We talked about that last week, and that we don't want to be something that was concocted up last week. We embrace the fact that something has been around for decades. That said, depending upon how quickly they update the material, particularly in a printed version of a HealthPointe manual, you might be dealing with dated material. So the reference to ketone strips that you urinate on, or the urine strips, that is been far outpaced by something like this. This is Keto Mojo, which is available many places, certainly Amazon. It comes in a beautiful little case like this, and inside that case, you're going to get, at the core, you're going to get something about the size of a magic marker. And don't let this freak you out, but it does take blood. So it's going to have a lancet. The way that works is you kind of pull this back here, you hear that cock, and then you push this button. Okay, and that actually almost shot that off the end, but normally you would have that on your finger, and you just, boom, it just lances your finger real easily, no problem, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then inside this is going to be a strip that you put in the end of this device, this is the actual device that is giving those numbers. Remember when I was saying, 1.5 to 3 millimoles and stuff like that? That will read out right on here. You just put the strip in the top. First, the blood sugar strip, you dip it in that little droplet of blood and it'll measure what your blood sugar is. Again, you like blood sugar to be certainly sub 100. And I'll go through what my numbers are. Then you pull that strip out, you put the next strip in, which is your ketone strip, dip it in that little drop, measure those ketone bodies in your blood, and that will give you that measurement. And so that is far and away going to be more accurate and probably easier to use than a urine strip. So maybe in time, HealthPointe will update their manual to reference that. But here's my numbers. Remember in my nerdy talk where I talked about the inverse relationship between insulin and ketones, okay? Insulin drops, ketones rise. Well, we don't have an easy way to do a insulin test. You can do an insulin test. A doctor can get it, and you should get it. But the proxy to that is glucose. So it is easy to get your glucose reading. So being that I am doing a 6-week cycle, and this was my first week, I'll tell you that on Monday, my glucose, which should be below 100, was actually 101. Now, why is that? Emily's on the call. I'm going to blame our friends. And no, I'm kidding. They're wonderful. But we had our wonderful Vietnamese friends that came over and brought my in-laws and ourselves some wonderful Vietnamese food. And as Carol says, we get to do our quote unquote last supper before we start our 6-week cycle. That was my last supper. So my blood sugar, not bad, in the morning was 101. Okay. And my ketones were 0.5, which also is not bad at all. But then what do we do on Monday in HealthPointe on our Jumpstart days? Monday was pure protein. So I was, I'm a fan of sardines. I'm eating sardines. I eat venison. Those were my servings. So I ate. Tuesday morning, listen to what happened to my blood sugar. Monday morning, it was 101, right? Tuesday morning, it was 83. Bingo, right in that healthier range. Now, my ketones had been 0.5, which is not bad, but now insulin's drop, blood sugars drop. What should be rising? Ketones. Exactly, and it did. It went from 0.5 to 1.1. And I won't take you through it all, but I'll just say that the next day, my blood sugar, which is again, second day of protein. So this is Wednesday morning, blood sugar stayed the same at 83. And my ketones went from 1.1 to 1.8. So you can see my ketones going from 0.5 to 1.1 to 1.8. That's a measurement of those ketone bodies, which is basically excess fat metabolic. It's the body producing those ketones through burning fat. And, when it talks about mental acuity and alertness, ketones cross a blood-brain barrier, right? We have this protective mechanism in our brain to protect it from many incursions, but ketones effectively cross the blood-brain barrier. And when it comes to mental acuity, I'll just tell you this, for the last certainly half a week, including this morning, I am up at least 1 hour before my alarm goes off. Okay, just fully refreshed, fully awake, just firing, coming out. So if you talk about brain fog and grogginess, do HealthPointe, get those ketones rising, and you might be surprised at how your mornings are compared to, a sugary glucose, burning grogginess, brain fog in the morning. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions, comments on that before we move on? All right. And we can circle back around to this, of course. as we do our just kind of our open format on here, which is wonderful. But Kathy, aka Step Queen, we wanted to circle over to you and get an update. We haven't actually heard for a while, and if I didn't know you better, if we all didn't know you better, we'd think, oh my gosh, no way could you have continued consecutive day back-to-back days. But here, let's hear the update.
All right, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. I know I missed last week, so Happy New Year to everybody. Yes, believe it or not, today will be 2 years, 298 days consecutively, never missing a day in that time frame, doing 10,000 or more steps a day.
Woohoo! Yeah,
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Cool.
Kathy.
Thank you. Even on Christmas Day, even on Christmas Eve, even on New Year's Day, even on New Year's Eve, even in ER visits, any situation, it is who I am. When you guys dubbed me the Step Queen last year, I think it was, you know, I've taken it to heart. It is who I am. So I can't disappoint anybody, number one. But number two, it really just truly is who I am. I cannot honestly imagine not doing it one day. I think I would be so disappointed in myself. So, you know,
I can
it is
attest
who I
to-
am.
I can attest to the fact she did it in the hospital room because she was walking all back and forth. I thought it was because she was nervous of me, but she was kind of doing both.
I was
Oh,
making effective
that's
use
awesome.
of time, because in the hospital you never know what the time is going to be like. And so yes, and even sometimes, unfortunately, my hubby Dave is back on here with us, and he's getting
Welcome,
healthy
Dave,
again
by the
after his
way. Great to
surgeries.
Hey.
So
yeah.
I can attest, there was 1 week we're in the ER 2 weeks in a row, and I saw some of the same nurses, and I'm in the hallway and they're like, oh, you're getting your steps in. So, you know, just kind of funny. So I'm kind of known at Wyandotte Hospital as a chick who does steps too. So, but anyway, what I want to say is, and I am on a new cycle of HealthPointe because I haven't done a cycle probably since 2022, I think. And so I really wanted to do one, and again, walk the talk at, you know, the same time as I am coaching some fabulous ladies that I'm looking forward to helping them get their results. But quick background, I did go on a cycle back in 2018, and from June of 2018 to January 2019, I dropped 58 pounds. I was pre-diabetic at the time, and I was a scout leader, and I had this frumpy scout uniform, and I didn't like how I looked in the pants, and they were awful, and I wanted to look good. So that was two of my 5 reasons. When you write down your 5 reasons, that can be whatever kind of reasons you have, you know, they're your reasons. Okay. So, and I know, Carol, I've tried to find a picture of me looking frumpy in those. I haven't been able to find it yet, and I threw them out, so I can't put them on. So, because once I outgrew them, I'm like, these are out of here. I went and bought new ones right away. But so anyway, just keep that in mind. Your reasons are your reasons. Okay? They don't have to make sense to anybody but you. Okay. But it's that focus and that determination that will help you remember that you want to do this when there's rough days. But what I want to say is, you know, we say, obviously, there's an importance of drinking clean water and getting a lot of steps, not pumping iron, just, you know, consistent walking. Like you can see I'm doing right now in my house. I'm in Michigan. It's cold. You're never going to find me outside in the wintertime walking. You're just not. Okay. But I do them in my house, and you can do them in your house. As you can see, I'm going back and forth, same path. Okay. But that whole time frame, I did not do 10,000 a day consecutively. The consecutiveness did not start until 2 years and 298 days ago. Okay. But I know I got at least 5,000 a day. So, and, you know, so just, you know, put that as a goal and just continue to get, you know, even if you get 100 or 200 more each day, you're climbing, you're doing better. You're making steps in the right direction. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then it's just amazing how good you feel once you've been doing this consecutively. You know, as I mentioned, I was in the ER with other people. I've never been in for myself, praise God. Okay. And I feel great. And it gave me the energy and the strength and the health that I needed to be able to take care of those who needed some help. So, just want to mention that. But it's not, it's not easy. There are days, you just think like, oh God, I have seventh on Sundays. Sundays are really tough because I get up and get ready, go to church, sit at church, go grab some breakfast, sit at breakfast, come home. And I'm like, oh my God, I only have 1,500 steps, and at 8,500 looming, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? But you get it done. So, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of you that are busy working moms, and anybody's busy, whether you're a working mom or not, but there are easy ways to focus on your chores and get steps at the same time. And that is folding clothes. Who loves to fold clothes? Absolutely nobody. But if you take one clothing item at a time and you walk the hallway while you're folding said item of clothing, and then you walk and put it away, you'll be amazed how many steps you'll get done by the time you get done folding a load of clothes. You got to get them folded anyway, and you need your steps. So try that, okay? When you're meal prepping, if you're going to chop a bunch of vegetables, don't grab as many from the fridge at one time and go sit them on the counter. Take your head of lettuce, go get your cucumber, go get your pepper. Every 5 or 6 steps are going to add up. Okay. Same thing when you're clearing the table from the dishes. Take one plate at a time. Take one fork, take a knife, take a spoon. I know it sounds silly, but after a while, those steps really do add up. And whether you still have like 3,000 that you have to hammer out, or maybe you've picked up 500 just by taking every item to get your dishes ready. So these are just some everyday things that I do. I am an administrative assistant, so I sit at a desk all day long. One of my coworker sisters is on this Zoom, and I get most of my steps at my lunch hour, and it's usually just about a half hour. It takes me about a half an hour to eat. Then I go in the lobby. Again, don't go outside unless it's warm. People see me in the lobby. They know what I do. And I just go back and forth in the lobby. Even the other day, I was doing it before Christmas break. And I'm for a school regional educational society. And our superintendent was coming up the elevator with somebody. And she goes, oh, you're doing your steps. I'm like, yep, I am, And she had her arms full. And she goes, Kathy, get over here. I need your ID. Let me in. So I ran over and I said, yeah. She goes, what's it today? And I said, 2 years and 280 days, whatever. I don't remember what it was, And the lady that was with her looks, she goes, what? She goes, oh, she's flipping amazing. She does 10,000 steps a day. Yep. Just like that. We see her out here every day. She goes, she is just incredible. So, I'm like, well, thank you. I do my best I can, I use my badge, bust them in, and they went in, So, it is who I am, but that's, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's great. I was curious when you bump into those people, do some of those people know that you used to be 58 pounds heavier and pre-diabetic?
I sometimes try to tell some of them, I'll be like, yeah, don't mind me. I'm just out here doing my 10,000 steps a day. I'm on a weight loss lifestyle change. I lost 58 pounds several years ago and I keep it off, just kind of try to drop it in as quick as I can, A couple people have approached me, but nobody's serious, but they know where I'm at.
Sometimes people can just know you, particularly in a work environment, if they've been there 2-3 years ago or 2018, I guess that was 6 years ago or so, that they would know what you physically look like. Well, that is so cool. It's awesome to have David on here, your husband. Welcome back, David, and also to attest to your walking in the hospital when he was in there. So that's just so awesome. And as you were going through that, I thought, there's other efforts that people make, other programs, and let's just say that it was different from HealthPointe in that they recommended working out, going to the gym every day. Who could say that they went to a gym 2 years, 298 days in a row? It's just, you can't do it. And that alone points out the brilliance of the HealthPointe program. So again, excellent, awesome. Appreciate that update. Anybody else have any thoughts, comments? And if not, we'll Bruce and Eileen. Good morning, Bruce and Eileen.
Good morning. So I'd like to share a little. I don't get 10,000 steps every day, although I tried to do that, but sometimes we just haven't done it. But since we've been doing this program, can you hear me okay? I got the earbuds in.
We sure can.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So since doing this program, we do walk. I try to get 10,000, and I want to say that if you try to do what Kathy's saying and try to have a goal and really do it, it becomes part of you. And we think of ourselves as walkers. Our neighbors think of us as walkers. And we're looking for a different house. And she's like, this is a good walking community. So I just want to say it does become part of you, even if you can't do 10,000, like my mom. If she could do 2,500 steps, she has issues and can't walk well. If we just keep trying, it becomes part of us. We don't say we're going for a walk, we're going for our walk. I noticed that changed in our speech. So it's just wonderful. HealthPointe has helped us so much to be a different person, and now we're walkers.
And we see you out walking, both you and Bruce. That's awesome. And for those that aren't aware, collectively, they've lost well over 100 pounds. I think 60, 70 pounds on Eileen's part, and I don't know, 40 or 50 on Bruce's part. A whole litany of improved blood lab markers and doctor visits that are having doctors hug them and everything like that. So, and just increased for those again that don't know Bruce and Eileen and their traveling, jet-setting lifestyle, they get to do more of what they love because they've got the health and energy to do it. So congratulations and thanks for that.
Well, we
insight.
thank this program. We love this program and our community here.
Love it, love it, excellent. Any other thoughts around Robin here?
When you were talking about ketosis, it made me think of a while back when you talked a little bit about fasting and how the protein days are kind of similar. And you're talking about ketosis and talking about the steps and HealthPointe. It just reminds me of the phrase that you often use, Eric, all paths lead to HealthPointe.
Yes.
Congratulations, Kathy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes. Great stuff. Thank you, David. And let me give a quick note on that, because again, whether you're a coach and maybe you're having a conversation with somebody, like Carol said, be aware of, you don't have to do a deep dive. If somebody mentioned something about ketoacidosis, it's good to have a general understanding and a way to have a conversation about that. Same thing with ketosis. One of the things, remember, ketosis is your body is in a reduced carbohydrate state, and it's burning fat for fuel. There are two sources of fat: dietary fat and body fat. In HealthPointe, if somebody is looking to lose weight, we are utilizing body fat. There are many out there that are doing a quote unquote keto diet, and I'm not even saying this disparagingly because I don't know what their goals are, but you'll hear people say, oh, I did a new recipe for fat bombs. That's a thing, fat bombs. Okay. So not saying that disparagingly, I'm just clarifying that if I keep my net carbs, let's say way down, let's say somebody that, if we're trying in another arena of practice, another lane, if we're trying to get somebody specifically into therapeutic ketosis, which is that high 3 to 5 millimoles, but they're not looking to lose weight, we can reduce their net intake of carbohydrates down at least below 20 and usually below 12 net grams. Guys, that's virtually zero net carbs, but their dietary intake of fat, quote unquote healthy fats, can be olive oils, but fat bombs, is way up there, way up, 80% or 85% of their caloric intake. Guys, that can be 1,700 calories from fat. Okay, so fat bombs, fat this, fat that, creams, etc. They will get into ketosis. They won't lose weight. And that's fine if that's their goal. If their goal is to increase ketone bodies for other therapeutic reasons, but not lose weight. They want to burn dietary fat. If you want to get into ketosis and high ketones and lose weight, you want to burn fat, but body fat.
Right.
Both are going to produce ketones. Both are going to get all those, that list of elements that we spoke about, the increased clarity of thought, the cognition, the energy. Let me, I can't help myself. I'll give one more, we'll step function down a little bit further in this rabbit hole. Macronutrients. We've got carbs, we've got proteins, we've got fats. Why is it that you have an increased mental clarity, and overall energy when you're in that, particularly that higher level of ketosis? 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrate is 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. Okay, carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 9. So when your body is burning fat for fuel, think of it like when you go to a gas station. You've got regular gas, and then you've got what? Premium or high octane. Fat, burning fat is from a caloric, from an energy output, is like burning premium jet fuel. That's why, one of the reasons why you have this increased energy. You get somebody new on HealthPointe, what do they say almost all the time? Oh my gosh, where is all this energy coming from? I feel great. Okay, they're used to getting regular unleaded in their tank or worse if they've been eating Twinkies and cupcakes, and suddenly they're, instead of getting 4 calories of energy per gram, they're getting more of the premium fuel, which is 9 calories of energy per gram. Okay, so that's, I just wanted to go a little bit further down that rabbit hole, that the energy production, the caloric production with fat is higher than with carbohydrates and proteins. So yeah, enjoy it. It's a great state to be in. So, all right. So a little bit more on that. Thank you, David. On that, all roads lead to HealthPointe. Yes, they do. Carol, you had teased up a topic on a very important topic always is attitude. What is Bob Andrews? Often those of us that are familiar with Bob Andrews, a great leader and teacher in this overall program about attitude is everything. Anytime I think of attitude, I think of him saying attitude is everything. And to give context, this Saturday walk and talk is also kind of coinciding with our first cohort of 2025, those that chose to participate in a cycle of HealthPointe that started from a prep stage on the 6th of January, but the first week of the 6-week cycle started on the 13th. So we are all that are participating in that, coaches, clients, in our first week. And so Carol's got some great insights on kind of attitudes in the first week, or that's what I understand, but turn it over to you, Carol.
Okay, great. Well, there was a lot of really good stuff covered today. And Eric, what time is it? I can't get to my...
We've got about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. I had no idea because the topics were so interesting and the input was so great. This is definitely something that you want to review again and again, because there's just a lot of questions that have been answered through this, and clarity on the ketones and the power of walking and what have you. I have a little critter that's coming at me here. So anyway, Hank gave me a really good article. I'm going to just tip touch the tip of the iceberg on this. It's not really an article, it's just some bullet points. And I'm going to go into this more heavily in the lean team, one of these segments on lean team. But to go to lean team, I do want to mention to you that this Monday night, we have our key speaker will be Sharon Webb. And many of you, most of you know Sharon. Sharon and her husband, Jerry, have a dynamic worldwide business, and they focus a tremendous amount on the health area. And Sharon, I've asked her to do a spot on Nutrilite and why the buy 3, get 1 free for clients, those non-negotiables, why we select those and the power of them. And so Sharon's just going to kind of take it and go with it, and it'll be very, very good. So I would say that every month, every week, you want to really hit hard with your clients to make sure that they are on these lean teams, because the questions and the validation and everything else, usually the answers to the questions usually are not as well received from the coach as they are from a third party. And especially somebody they don't know. We call that the out of town expert with a briefcase. And many of you have read that little book years ago, but it's all about that third party that comes in and just validates what you're trying to get across. So I would say these lean teams, the purpose of them is community and also conscious exposure to other experts and other coaches. And so I think that that can be a great impetus in your coaching. But anyway, real briefly, and I'm going to go into this on one of the segments. I'm going to do a whole segment on walking. And there's a great little audio that I'm going to, or video that I'm going to review, because the guy goes into very much the power of walking. And many times we think of it as walking because we want to get the exercise and we want to burn the calories or the carbs or whatever. But there's a lot of health benefits. And over the years, there's been, article upon article on your health benefits of walking. But here's just a few. 1 minute you walk, blood flow increases, energizing your body. Then if you walk for 5 minutes, your mood improves as endorphins kick in. When you walk for 10 minutes, cortisol levels reduce or drop, reducing stress. And stress is one of the biggest things that we're dealing with in today's times. If you walk 15 minutes, blood sugar begins to stabilize. These are all things you want to happen in your HealthPointe program. 30 minutes, fat burning mode is activated. And Eric just talked about fat burning mode. We want to burn that body fat. And then 45 minutes, mental clarity increases and overthinking fades. And so you're really focusing in on your goals and not trying to figure out all the nuances of this and that and the other thing. You just keep the program clear, clarity in it, and just follow the simplicity of the program. And then 60 minutes, dopamine rises, boosting happiness and motivation. And we want to keep our people happy. That's why we recommended the book that we recommended, Dr. Amen's book, because it gets rid of the negative attitudes, your ants, automatic negative thoughts, and it reduces and it replaces them with happy thoughts. And there's a great book called The Happiness Advantage. All of this, we want to keep them in a happy, believing, elevated mode where folks believe, once again, that they can be lean and mean and they can get back down. We have to constantly be reaffirming that, not only with ourselves, but even more importantly, with our people, especially when they're new, because they come in with various and sundry experiences in weight loss and attitudes towards themselves and how they feel about themselves. And most times they're not real good. That's why they're coming to you. So it's interesting because I'm counseling, I'm mentoring, coaching a number of new people. And it's interesting to kind of study the different personalities and the different approaches that each person has taken. I have one, and we were talking about this, and I thought, well, I'll just save this. But I asked how they were feeling, because they're not real good on everyday accountability, which makes it difficult for a coach because you don't know where they're at. But been on every lean team, so far, every time I communicate with them, they're very upbeat. And so I asked this person, how are you feeling today? And this person said, oh my gosh. And now this person had just gotten out of the hospital with pneumonia before she started. This is the one that said, I'm in the hospital with pneumonia, but I'm on my prep days. I got my vitamins and I'm going to start just like normal. And so she was rocking and ready to go, rock and roll, ready to go. But she's not great on accountability. So I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to knock on her door. And so I sent her a text and she said, oh my gosh, this was like second day into protein day. She said, I'm feeling so great. I've got so much energy. I don't know what to do with myself. And I said, well, you can clean house. But so there was one take. And so it's important, if you're not hearing from people, to not say, okay, you got to be accountable every day. I'd love to say that, but they're not, we're establishing habit patterns, and this person's brand new to the program. But I said, well, that's great. That's the way you're supposed to feel. And so it's constantly reaffirming. So then I had another one that joined the program on Lean Team every week. Crickets. Haven't heard anything. So I have no idea where she's at, but she's on the Lean Team every week, Monday nights. And so I will probably give her a live call today and just say, hey, thought I'd touch bases. How you doing on the program? How's it working for you? Do you have any questions? And then just, constantly help them to understand the accountability factors. Sometimes, especially if they're new, people don't want to be accountable, not because they don't believe in it, but they don't want to bother you. And so you want to help them understand that this is why I'm here. I'm here to walk the walk with you. I'm here to take the journey with you and really uplift them. That's so important. And then gradually they'll understand the simplicity and ease of just a quick accountability every day. And then we had another one that had various and sundry excuses for this or for that or for the other thing. Now they're losing weight, but they have these little things that are sliding in. I couldn't do this because of this. I couldn't do that because of that. And you know what? That's fine. It just doesn't work on HealthPointe. And so we try to find solutions. We don't reprimand them. That's not this program. This program is uplifting, not reprimanding. But it's a good idea to say, well, you know what? You said you did this. Why don't you do this? And you can get some extra steps in there, just like what Kathy covered so beautifully today is you can squeeze it in. It's just sometimes just getting into solution mode around life, because we're going to do HealthPointe in life, real life time. And then there's a last one, and I just got this morning, and I wanted to share this because they took, because they're a digital person, they took Eileen's beautiful PDF files, and I shot them 2 of them. One of them is the weight tracking, and so that we know every day whether they're up, down, and the time and the what they started at, and then that date. And it's very easy for a coach to see progress. Now, many of you are more digital than I am. I like to see something hard, quick, and easy. So whatever works for you as a coach or as a HealthPointe Lean Teamer, do it. Whatever is the best and speaks to you the loudest in format, do it. We have all different formats. But this one, I thought I would just real quickly read off some selections because I thought this was a very clean report. And this is the kind of report coaches like to see because it's clean, concise, simple, not any sauces, hidden salts, hidden sugars, all of those types of things. So as a result, this person's losing weight very nicely and doing just pretty much everything. They've got some limitations, but they're working around those limitations. This is more limitations on the amount of steps, doing well on steps, but also working in some other things that they need to work into at this point in their life, which are forms of exercise. And so that's working great. But, here's one that selected coffee, and they selected 2 ounces of vanilla excess shake. Now that is a great little combination to add to your coffee. It 0 carbs, 0 fat, and it just does a beautiful job at your coffee. I mean, I think it's as good as any Starbucks. minus the whipped cream. And then an hour later, that was just kind of a wake up. And then an hour later, they did yogurt and raspberries. Exact amounts, exact net carbs, clean products, zero fat, because they did the low fat yogurt. Now this is weight loss. Okay, this is the beginning stages. So the fat's going to be lower on this. And I would say if you are in the beginning of your weight loss, you do want to have your fats lower, because this is not lifetime. Lifetime, we're going to eat olive oil and avocados and nuts and all these healthy fats. When we're in protein jumpstart days, protein days, and weight loss days, and even metabolic adjustment days, we're going to keep our fats down, because every time you eat fat, you got to burn that fat before you can get to the fat store in your body, which is your ultimate goal. And then in the mid-morning was a cheese stick. Okay, then lunch was a ground beef with mustard. Okay, so they wanted to put a little pop on their ground beef, so they added mustard. Mustard is one of those, you can add as much mustard as you want. So it was an 80-20 fat content ground beef, so they had their fat content, which was 9. Romaine lettuce, cucumber, 2 tablespoons of dressing, and a third of an apple. This particular type of apple happens to be a large apple, so they did a third of it, which was 10 carbs. And then they even are taking some of our gummies, one's for the eyes and one for sleep. And so they even counted the carbs in the gummies. And then for snack, they did a low-fat cottage cheese. And then another snack, they did a quarter of a Wellness Nutty Dark Chocolate bar. So that was lunch. So you can see that they're snacking, they're eating clean foods, they're eating everything very simply. So it's easy to track. There's no questions. Well, where's the hidden sugar? Where's the hidden salt? There isn't any. And then for dinner was 3.5 ounces of chicken, peppers and onions. They said sauteed, 2 cups of lettuce, a half cup of unsweetened applesauce, and then another coffee with 2 ounces of vanilla excess. And then their dressing was their Skinny Girl dressing for this one, because this one is on a, very definite weight loss. So they chose Skinny Girl. Then for a snack later on, they chose quarter of a wellness bar and then their gummies. And so that was 77 carbs for the day. That's a very nice weight loss pattern. Now, everybody's body's different. Everybody's activity level's different. Everybody's age, how much weight they got to lose, man, woman, whatever. That's where you work with your coach. But in general, this is a very nice, simple, clean, habit-forming way of eating in your weight loss days, and even in your metabolic when you're adding a little bit more food, ingredients, choices, and amounts. It was only 16 grams of fat, which meant that they're going to be going into their fat stores. And of course, the supplements and the water were very good. So I just wanted to mention that you're going to get various and sundry different types of people on the program, and you're going to do that initially in the beginning, and you're going to help them to create those habits. You're going to help them to tweak this and tweak that. And the other thing that I noticed was the more I hear from people, the more I feel that they're being very, very effective on what they're doing, because they're asking questions, they're tweaking, and they're engaged. Engagement in this program is vital. And so keep your people engaged no matter what level they're at, wherever they're at, as far as their accountability, and just take them from where they are and help them go to where you want them to go. So that's just kind of my take. And on Lean Team, we're going to be, again, hitting different Lean Team items each Lean Team session, so that they really understand, because that first week, as Eric always says, it can be this first cycle can be kind of clunky because they're establishing new habits. And so we're going to try to take the clunkiness out of it by getting different people on to talk about different topics. So with that, Eric, I'm going to turn you back over.
Carol,
back over to you.
Carol,
Yes. Yes.
Did she lose some weight the first week?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. She did. She lost 6 pounds. 6 pounds is a great weight loss for the first week. Everybody's not going to lose 6 pounds. She lost 6 pounds. But I think part of it is she didn't question, she didn't sneak, she didn't try to do HealthPointe 8.5. She just followed the program, asked the questions. And the other thing she said is that her spouse was very, very instrumental in helping her stay on track. And I think if you are a spouse or you have a spouse and you're on this program by yourself, if your spouse is willing to walk the walk with you and really be a support to you rather than a sabotage, that is so, so helpful. So thank you, Hank, for reminding me of that. Yes, she lost very nicely. So that's it.
Wow. That's excellent. So much that could be covered in that, kind of recovered. It sounds delicious, by the way. Really great choices in there.
Clean
Yeah.
tongue.
Very clean tongue. Yeah, really great choices. I love the 2 ounces of the vanilla excess in the coffee. That's really clever and really cool.
Well, I think you
And
do that, don't you? Don't you do that with chocolate and cinnamon?
I do, not the cinnamon, but I'm a fan of the chocolate powder, the Nutrilite Organics chocolate powder, and I have about a cup of cooled down coffee, and then a cup of, so a total of 2 cups between the coffee and the unsweetened almond milk, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, which is about 10 grams of fiber. Let those bloom, as I've now learned to say, let those bloom, kind of get that plumped up. And then a pinch of salt and the 2 scoops of the protein powder. And it's a delicious kind of a mocha deliciousness. But I love the coffee and 2 ounces of, I assume it was the liquid excess, vanilla excess.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that because people are very, if they're a creamer person or a cream in their coffee person, they like that format. And then we're making changes. And so if you can change your taste buds to go into the liquid excess vanilla shake, that is really good because it's an easier way to make a change because it's the same format. And so after you're kind of tricking your body into a little different format, still doing that same habit that you have of adding the cream to the coffee and saving ton of fat. See, there's zero fat there, so you're not having to take off that fat out of your coffee, and it just takes care of it.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I'll just speaking to the being imperfect throughout the program. Carol will relate to this because I communicate with Carol regularly, and pretty much every morning. I check in with you, but I was commenting to Carol that I wasn't like stressing about my numbers because I understand that any given day is not what you're necessarily looking at. You're looking at connecting all those days together and looking at the trend line. And if you just follow the process and don't freak out, good or bad, about any given day's results, and just focus in on the process, the results will take care of themselves. That said, I was a little bit perplexed about this particular morning because my weight, I think it went up slightly. My blood sugar went up a little bit and my ketones dropped a little bit. And I thought, well, those are 3 markers that, and I was like going through it. And the only thing I could pick out, and this isn't a big thing, but let's expand on it a little bit, is it reminded me as I was checking in with Carol that on my way out of playing pickleball, there's a Starbucks and I routinely stop there and I get an Americano with cream, okay, unsweetened, just like a heavy whipping cream on there. And that I did totally absent-mindedly. Again, I'm establishing new habits here because I haven't done a 6-week cycle since this time last year, right? And so here I am just absent-mindedly walking out of the club, playing pickleball, and I get this coffee that I always get, and it had the heavy whipping cream. And of course, Carol and I discussed that. Well, there's a good amount of fat in there, etc. So, no, I love establishing the new habits, staying engaged, this particular person's different choices throughout the day. Really, really great stuff. A lot of a lot of awesome material there. Okay, any other final thoughts here? Thoughts, comments, questions? We're really right at the closeout time here. So, well, it's been power packed again. We have done so much. We'll get this uploaded onto YouTube. We'll kick out a summary of it, and we will plan on being same time, same place next Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till then, we'll say bye-bye.
And Monday at 8 p.m.
And Monday at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. for those in the current cohort. All right, great stuff. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Go
All right.
Lions.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.